gold right now. This is the gold chart in a 4-hour time frame. And then before I get into what I'm expecting on gold next week, I just want to do a quick recap on what happened next week, because I never gave you guys a feedback. And yeah, let's just get to see what our analysis were last week and what happened after. So okay, this is what we're expecting next week. You can see I already annotated exactly what I was expecting next week. And then okay, let me just start from this point. I'm not gonna explain the whole thing. If you want to know the whole scenario and what I was thinking and why was I expecting this, you can go back to watch the video in my YouTube channel. I mean in the video that I just what was this video, second last video that I released. Yeah, you'll see it as you scroll. So okay, we're expecting price here to break above this high, come back down, mitigate this 3-hour demand zone, and then push higher towards this point here. So but that did not happen as we expected. It did not happen as we expected because gold was too volatile next week. I remember on Monday when the market opened, it shot up, leaving a small gap between the candles. So that shows that it was actually the movement was very intense towards the upside. So okay, going back to our analysis, let's just okay, I already made some annotations here. I guess you can see, I hope you can see what I'm already going to say and what to expect next week. So I'm just gonna explain something here. Let me go to the daily time frame. When we're looking at the price in the daily time frame, you can see, especially at this particular point there, this particular point, you can see price mitigated this. I don't know what that is. It just mitigated that a week. So push to the upside. And then okay, my question is, will price hold, or will this demand zone, whatsoever called a demand zone in the 4-hour time frame, hold towards that point, 4,120.65 price? Will it hold? Will it be able to hold price up until that area? That's why my expectations are not for continuing with this current price that you see here towards that point. It's for taking price down first and then taking advantage of this demand zone right there. It's not actually from the 4-hour time frame. It's basically from the daily time frame. You can see I was actually supposed to mark out this red candle that you see here, this rejection red candle that you see here, but then I decided to mark the one within it, because if you check, we have a small gap here. We have this small gap here. This is the gap that I was talking about when I said price open with a high volatility on Monday, leaving this gap. And this is the gap that adds to the confluences and giving me confidence on taking this buy from this point here. So I actually just marked this 4-hour time, 4-hour demand zone, because it's looking good. Also, it's looking very good. And then yeah, this is what we will be looking at. And then okay, from this area here, I'm just expecting price to actually mitigate here, then come back down towards this 4-hour demand zone. Then from that 4-hour demand zone, I'm expecting price to give me this particular confirmation, entry confirmations, and then from then I'll be taking my buys. I'll be taking advantage of price, and then I'll be taking it towards 4,120.65, and then my stop loss will be below, at this low. You see this particular low here, the price is 3,818.62 price, and then yeah, that's pretty much what I would be expecting. And why am I expecting price to do that, and why am I choosing this zone? Since we have a bunch of zones here. We have a bunch of zones. When we check here below this zone, we have a bunch of zones and fair value gaps that price might possibly come back to mitigate. So my main confluence is because price just left this small gap here. The small gap that you see right here is the one that influences me to consider this as a high possibility demand zone. And then again, this imbalance that you see here add to the confluence as well. And then this nice demand zone in the daily time frame also add to the confluence. And again, going back to the 4-hour time frame, you see this nice mitigation here. Price was consecutively breaking structure to the upside and then also mitigating the demand zones to the upside. That gives me more confidence, also assurance that price might and will actually mitigate this, and this will actually hold price up until 4,120.65 price. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting on gold. And then yeah, and another thing, I actually took some trade. I was on a trade when the market closed last week. I was actually in a trade. You can see this trade right here. This trade right here. I took my chances and executed this trade. It was a very high risk trade. It was a very high risk trade, but I'll explain why I took this trade. This is what I saw. I saw this small demand zone right here. Let me explain something that I never explained before and something that I might explain in the future so that you know and be aware of. So okay, the reason why I marked out this area as my demand zone, this candle, this green candle as my demand zone, is because this demand candle shipped the previous low of the previous candle and then pushed to the upside. This now acts as my demand zone. Instead of me marking out this red candle, I will then mark this one because this is the one that shipped out or liquidated the previous candle. And then again, we see a very nice break of structure to the upside. We see a bunch of liquidity taken out, and then back to this point here. Okay, sorry. Back to this point here. Okay, I looked at price forming this short-term buy movement. And then I see price coming back again to mitigate some sort of a demand zone. If you go back to the smaller time frame, drop down to the smaller time frame, you'll see some sort of a demand zones. And then what I like about it, it never actually mitigate shift below or liquidate this low. It just respected the low, keep on going up, and then attempted to break this low. It failed, then keep on going up, meaning the sellers were failing here. The sellers were failing here, and then we see a break above this high. That tells me that the buyers are winning, and then we see a retracement back to the downside, mitigating this demand zone in the 1 hour time frame. After a break of structure, and then looking up to the upside, we have this imbalance here. This was actually a short-term trade. It wasn't something that I can actually take or hold up until this price here. This price here, I was just stalling here with this. It was not actually my actual target. My actual target is right here with this imbalance and this demand zone, because I'm not actually about to expect or take the chances or risk of taking price from this area to that area, since we don't actually have a good demand zone that looks like it's going to hold. It doesn't look stable to me. That's why on the other forecast, I'm expecting price to still drop towards this 4-hour demand zone. So yeah, so my take profit is around this area, but if it do hold towards that area, and then it's a win. You know what I'm talking about? It's a win. So yeah, I saw this, and then that's all what happened, and I took my chances here, buy, and then I'm still holding the trade. But as soon as the market opens, I'm gonna try and shift my stop loss towards this area. So yeah, we'll see what happened. I'm gonna give you guys a feedback on what happened on this trade. I'm gonna give you guys feedback, but I'm not gonna actually close as soon as the price mitigate this supply zone. I'm just gonna shift my stop loss above the A3. I'm gonna put it above the break even, so that I can maybe take advantage of hitting that target that you see right there. So yeah, that is what we're expecting on gold. We're overall expecting buys. And then to support my analysis with the fundamentals, we have this news here. Let me start from Monday. We have this guy is not really a serious guy. You can see the impact is low. And then looking on the 14th, we have this serious guy here, Mr. Fed Chair Powell speaks. So, and when I go deep into the information, you can see this guy, this actually, the reason why he's going to speak, he's actually going to, okay, they will be voting on whether they should cut the interest rate. They're actually deciding on what they should finally do with the interest rate, you see? Because remember, the last time they cut interest rate, they cut it up to 4%, if I'm not mistaken, and they cut out 0.25 basis point. And now they still deciding whether they should cut it further or they should keep it steady where it is. So we don't know, and that's what we're going to see next week by Monday. I think that other guy will be doing some sort of vote or something like that, announcing what they actually or finally decided. So we will see what happens. But if they actually do cut the rates, then our analysis will be correct. We will be actually expecting strong buys and intense buy towards our targets, which is 4,120 price. So if that happens, then it will be a win for us. So okay, back to our analysis. Yeah, this is what will be expected. And then I think I'll be monitoring my trades from, let me see, 4-hour time frame looks better and clear. 4-hour time frame looks cleaner for me. Yes, the 4-hour time frame. This is where we'll be monitoring my trades. Yes, that's where we'll be monitoring my trades. And thank you for watching.